Welcome to another edition of Trailer Talk here in... I'm really surprised. No offense. I didn't expect this trailer to be this nice, Matt. We got to crack our beers first.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, right? We've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
This thing is nice. This is yours. This isn't Daddy's money, right?
No, I mean, I'm sure people will say what they want to say. They always do. But no, actually, in 2017, I bought this instead of buying my first house. And it's probably the biggest mistake and, like, the best thing I ever did all in one. So trailers have went up so much money. Like, I think when I bought this, it was like $70,000. I think now trailers are like $120,000 for the same thing. So it's a good investment, but it's not as good of an investment as buying a house like 5 years before I did. So
did you have the girlfriend, now wife, at the time when you made this purchase?
No, actually, I think I got this like probably a year before I met Natalie. Not met her, but probably a year before we got together.
So if she was around, you might have bought a house instead.
Most definitely. She's like the voice of reason, so we wouldn't have this trailer if she was around. We'd probably be racing out of something a lot smaller.
How is married life now, right?
It's great. I mean, we had, a week after our wedding, our dog tripped in a snowbank and blew his knee out, and my wife loves my dog more than she loves me.
That's fair.
So we had to get the dog knee surgery and get him all sorted out. So we did that on Friday, and we came down to Florida. I came down to Florida 3 days later. She's at home looking after the dog. So
she's
thinking of her
and the
dog.
A gold star for this.
She's wife of the year already.
So, I was thinking there's a lot that we could talk about just between. I think I want to start with your dad, because your dad has one of the best reputations in modified racing for what he does at Bicknell and the customer service that he gives at Bicknell. Just talk a little bit about that. I know you're involved in Bicknell, and just what goes on at Bicknell that has you guys as the standard right now, including especially your dad.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously so many people involved in making a company like that successful and to the level that they are. Employees, they have great employees, great staff that work there and make the product to be as good as it is. But I really do think Dad going around to the racetracks. He was here tonight and he spent maybe, and we were struggling. He spent maybe 10 minutes at my trailer all night, and the most of the time walking around. And we're watching the race on Flo in the trailer, and every heat winner, that was struggling in hot laps and won the heat says, I'd like to thank Randy Williamson and so from so-and-so. So it's cool that, I got to look up to him when I was growing up and kind of learn from him. And, it took me a while to kind of say, yeah, Dad, you're right. More often than
right.
more often
Just
than
like
I used
every
to.
kid,
but
right?
I'm super proud he got inducted into the Hall of Fame last year, and I was lucky enough to be able to one that did the speech to kind of introduce him, and that was cool. And certainly, he earned it over the years. I think it probably should have happened a long time ago. He's the most, I'd say the most influential guy in the Northeast over the last 40 years. So I'm a little biased, but I'm super proud of him.
So you mentioned it, right? At this point, does he kind of leave you to your own devices? Does he only come when you call him, or is he still Dad sometimes?
Yeah, he and I'm the worst for it. He comes around tonight. We struggled, and he'll come around and say, hey, I had a lot of customers do this, and they got better because they did it. And I'm stubborn, Matt.
Put that at the bottom of the list of things we're gonna do.
I'm like, Dad, we've had a lot of success over the last couple of years doing our own thing. I'm like, I'm gonna be stubborn here and stick it to it and do it my own thing. So probably hurts me a lot of the time, but you got to think outside the box and doing what everybody else does. Most of the time it'll get you to the top 5, but it ain't going to get you to beat Matt Shepard. So we try and come up with our own ideas and do our own thing and try and be at the top of the game. And sometimes it hurts you, but I probably should listen to him more often than I don't.
Where would you be right now if you listened to Dad more?
Maybe 11th tonight. No, I mean it.
Not that you haven't. I mean, obviously you're pretty well near the top of the game at this point as is.
I think when we switched over to coils, it's not new to him. Nothing was new to him. He's been around and seen it all. But the new style of coil springs was kind of new to everybody, with spring rubbers and bump rubbers and progressive stacks and digressive stacks, and all this different stuff came about, spring smashers, and we kind of all learned it together. And that was kind of good for me because Dad didn't have 40 years of knowledge to argue with everything that I said, and I didn't have 40 years of knowledge to argue with him. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool relationship, and you know, we joke around about the daddy's money stuff, but really without my dad, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And, I think, you know, if I have a son, I'm going to try and do the same thing to make him achieve everything that he wants to achieve in life. And, there ain't one keyboard warrior on the internet that wouldn't do the same for their child unless they're a degenerate, which most of them are.
Some of them might be,
but
for
yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's that's what you do in life. You try and look out for your family and make your family successful. And, you know, a lot of my success is because of my father.
So take me back now to 2019, because you were very well in the game and you were very fast, but I feel like 19 was maybe not a breakout year, but it was the year you said, I'm here to run with the 9S, with the 44, with all these dudes, the Centennial. You knock off Matt in the Super Dirt Car Series Championship. You accomplished a lot in 2019. That was where Money Matt came from. And I felt like that was, take me just that year, that whole thing.
It was, you know, surreal. It was really like, you know, I look back at it now and I'm like, you know, did we really do this? Did we really do this? And time flies anymore. I mean, anything I could say to any of these young guys racing, you know, take a minute and enjoy it when you're having success. But yeah, it started really in 2018. I got to ride with Jeff, and then 2019 I got to ride with Buzz and you know, the CW Racing ride. So we had this big like super team, we called it, after we won the Centennial.
I remember.
And we had a lot of smart people, and that was when short rods came out and left side panhard bar and spring smashers, and you know, like we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And we just got onto something that worked when we were at the Centennial race, and then we went to Fulton and ran good. Then we went to Dirt Week and ran good, and went to Port Royal and ran good. And it just all the races, you know. And in that year, I didn't expect to win anything. Like,
right.
You know, there was a lot of years that went by before that I didn't win shit. So, you know, it was just cool to go down there, and you know, you hit on a hot streak, and it seems to happen with me in October, November. You know, September,
big
October,
money
November.
season, right?
Yeah,
That's where Money Matt came from.
But it translates from like coming down here and sucking for 2 or 3 nights and trying stuff and trying to be better, and we were lucky. We were fortunate that it all happened. Obviously, the Centennial took a lot of luck to win that one because the rain came.
That was a wild night.
Pit stops and everything. But yeah, I mean, just very lucky guy I am to win them races.
I know you feel like that's still in the tank, right? But I did the one lap, one beer with Peter Britton last year, and we kind of talked about the guy in third, right? Like everybody looks at the 9S and the 44 as the standard, and the guy in third kind of comes and goes in waves. And I feel like right now, right, you were there in 19, kind of fell off, right? Go down had his run. Rudolph has times where he's run really good, and I feel like you're kind of back now to. I know you probably say, "Hey, screw that, I'm 1 or 2," but I think a lot of people would say Williamson's probably third, and at least with those guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, Stu and Matt have done it for years, and I think, like, you know, my bad fault, I guess you could call it, is like when I have an off night, I'm 18th and 19th.
What the hell are your guys doing out there?
Hopefully not banging up the trailer, but no, when I have a bad night and I'm 18th or 19th, their bad nights are like 4th and 5th. And,
right.
You know, Matt especially. I mean, Matt's set the bar for 10 Super Dirt Series championships and a bunch of Short Track Super Series championships, and sets the bar pretty high. So I just got to get them nights that we're off. You know, like tonight, we kind of regrouped and got better for the feature, but. You know, his bad nights are 5th and 6th, like I said. So that's tough to beat that guy in a championship when he doesn't really have them bad nights. So, but yeah, I don't know what we got to do. Just keep racing and trying to be better and trying to win races.
Now we went to Canada last year. How cool was that for you, right? I know it wasn't necessarily your part of Canada. You told me your drive was longer than a lot of ours to get to Grammy and RPM.
Yeah, Quebec. The fans, like, I mean, I don't know if that was your first time down there, but
it was.
It's incredible. It always was for every race we went. Like during COVID, that was a quick one. That was a quick beer.
Hey, you said we were racing.
I'm talking too much. I can't drink.
I have the advantage of this.
I'm shaking over here. I'm cold, you know. But no, the fans in Quebec, they're super passionate. They come out and support the big events like that.
They told us the Granby crowd for the STSS race was the biggest they've ever had. Bigger than World of Outlaws.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like the atmosphere they do for the races is second to none.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. I'm glad that Flo is you know, showing the weekly racing to show how passionate the announcers are, and you know, it's cool.
I loved it, by the way, because I got to go up there. Jeff wasn't there. So it was like half of it was French Canadian, half was my dumbass. But I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that I know the announcer. He does like hockey games and stuff up there. I think his name's Anthony.
Yes.
He does a great job. Like his French to English is very good.
Yes.
His translation's very good. So. I was really happy Brett expanded into the region. This year we get to go to Cornwall.
Yes, closer to home, right?
It's an hour and a half closer than Quebec, but it's still a 6-hour ride.
Is there anywhere we can go that's close for you? In Canada, right? I know you're...
There's Oswego, Humberstone, Brockville's a little closer. There's some good racetracks up there, and Ranceville would be cool to do.
I love Oswego.
Yeah,
so I love watching.
There's
that place
another
on
one
TV.
in Thorold somewhere, but we can't talk about that place in Thorold. So, but no, it's cool that Brett's going to go to Cornwall and get to see another new facility. I think we're going to Airborne this year, and some other places. So, super excited about that, and that might be the things that make it more achievable to win a championship on the Short Track Super Series, because we're going to places that I've raced at a little bit more than Matt. It's tough to go to Utica Rome and Fonda and beat him. So, but we'll see what happens.
And we've talked Utica Rome, right? That's Utica and Fonda. For whatever reason, that was a big swig. I know.
I gotta keep up. It's like a race. I got 1 more ounce in here. I did the math. That's 24 ounces of beer. I got 25 here. So
you're sandbagging. You said that was a quick one, and
I'm hopefully coming on strong the last 10 laps here. It's cold. We're shaking. I'm shaking.
Well, hook me up, so I'm okay.
All right. Well, I had to wear my S&W hoodie for Wayne. Wayne does so much for me, and I figured I'd support him for that.
This is a sweet looking race car, by the way.
We changed it up this year. Went white instead of black. Ray's very artistic. He's my crew chief on this car, and I just kind of let him run with it. And Auto Effects has lettered my cars now for a few years, and Tim's been around racing for a long, long time, and he gets monotonous. And I'm sure you do that many cars with him, it's tough to come up with new ideas. So him and Ray work good together, and they come up with some sweet cars year after year. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
Well, I didn't want to ask all softball questions. My ass is getting kind of soft here. The whole tire doping deal, right? Just explain for anybody who's going to watch this on Flow who doesn't even know who the hell Mat Williamson is, right? You had a big deal last summer, got disqualified. Was it Ransomville or Maryville?
It was that place in Thorold, not Ransomville. Okay. So I won't say the name. So, it's like a swear word.
So Maryville disqualified you for softening tires. Whole thing as far sending the tires out. You said you sent them out. They came back legal, all good.
So it
was a lot to read, right? So.
Yeah, long story short, they took a tire sample. I had got a message from an employee that works at BRP that they were going to take tire samples that night. He walked in on a meeting with Pete Bicknell and Don Spees, and they had mentioned about this tire test. So he called me the morning of the tire test, the original tire test, and mentioned that he walked in on a meeting. He says, I don't know if you're doing this stuff, but I heard that they're coming out to get you. I said, yeah, no problem. I laughed about it, and luckily I texted a crew guy and said, hey, they're taking tire samples tonight. We really got to dominate and make them think that they got us by the balls.
Right.
So long story short, they send the sample out. Sample comes back. They say that it's bogus. Myself and Dalton Slack and Gary Limbrick. So I'm like, nice joke, right? Like I'm sitting on my lawnmower. I'm like, this isn't funny, right? Like, when are you going to tell me this isn't true, right? So we were working with the track, and they were going to send out other samples and get them tested to make sure that it was legitimate, that chemicals that they said were in the tire were in the tire. So I wake up like 5 days later, and they basically just said, we're not doing this. I think they talked to some people that were outside of the racetrack, and they said, we're not doing this. You're disqualified. You're cheating, blah, blah, blah. So, excuse me. So this beer's getting to me. So myself, the tech inspector from Merrittville, Mark Chapman at the time, Bob Slack, and Gary Lemberg's car owner, Andrew Sittler, worked together. That Mark Chapman came and verified that the tires were the same and sent samples out to a lab in Ohio. So he sent the samples out. Samples come back and said that the one sample that he softened contaminated all through the bags. You can't send these samples in these bags.
Right.
So he had taken 2 samples. He sent the second sample out in like glass vials without softening a sample, and it came back and all the tires were the same. Like there was no outside chemicals in these tires. So it sucked that the place that I grew up at and my parents owned at one time, it sucked that we can't race there no longer because we were talking about my dad. My dad raised me to be a very moral person and somebody that is proud of their self and their reputation and stands up for what they believe. And for somebody to call me a cheater, I've raced since I was 6 years old. I'm 33 now. To call me a cheater and say that I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing hurt me. And to this day, I wake up every day and I think about the BS that happened. And it's upsetting.
And no matter what, right? There are people who are 1,000% Mat Williamson.
Oh yeah,
soft with his tires.
No
and
doubt.
That, you know.
And I tried to, you know, they said you can't take samples after because the samples evaporate over time and blah, 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 all this stuff. So I said, like, let's go to a lie detector test. You know, they use it in murder cases, and whether you believe it or not, I'm not a SEAL Team 6 operator that knows how to control my heartbeat.
You can't trick it. Yeah.
I can't trick a lie detector test. I said, let's go to lie detector test. I'll pay for it. And if you think that I can pass it, get my crew guys, get my tire guy, get my father, anybody that goes to my shop, ask them if they've ever seen tire softener. Like, I've never done it, so it was upsetting to me, and it sucks that my fans from around the area won't get to see us race.
Right.
And I really enjoyed going there and hanging out with the people that were there, you know, to watch the races, to be racing. The people that I raced with were good people, and it's an unfortunate circumstance that the way that it worked out is the way that it is. So we're going to go to Canandaigua on Saturday nights this year, and
should have been Fonda for my.
Fonda's 2 hours past Canandaigua for me, so that's the only reason why it's not. Because Canandaigua and Fonda, to me, are about the same as far as like my skill level. It's very low, so hopefully we can fine tune Canandaigua a little bit, and then who knows what might happen the year after. Because I need to get better at Fonda. That place is it's a tricky pony to ride.
So's this place.
No kidding.
I had one more thing, right? Because I don't think anybody consistently has more rides than you do, right? Between your own car, between Buzz, between Jeff, Coco, right? The gang with so just how do you balance all that, right? I mean, because that seems like a lot. Do you know sometimes what race car you're getting into? Or I mean,
I'm the luckiest guy in the pair. Really, you know, you say it year after year. You watch guys like the Doctor. You know, back in the day, I think it was a lot different than it is now. People didn't have relationships with their car owners that they did, but I got married January 13th, and every one of my car owners were there. Buzz couldn't make it because of his wife.
Damn it, Buzz!
But Brian came, Buzz's son, so that was cool that Brian could come up, and he drove a long way to get there. I got married in Niagara-on-the-Lake, so that was probably 7 hours for him and Lisa to get there. So all my car owners were there. Jeff was there, you know, Paul and Pete and Wayne. So I think that building relationships with your car owners past what happens at the racetrack is, you know, it works for me. I don't know if it's majorly important to most people, but I consider those guys family.
It's probably easier when you suck, you know, if you have a good relationship with them.
It's easier when you don't suck to keep a ride. When you suck, you think everything. And I'm the worst in my own head. Spot always tells me that, excuse me, the beer.
You're dying over there.
Yeah.
Come on, you're Canadian.
I chugged 3 waiting on you guys to get here, so... no,
I had to announce the sportsman, man.
Yeah, the sportsman took a while, so I was chugging beers out in the parking lot. But no, Spot always tells me that they're very loyal. You know, they stuck with the last driver they had for a long time, and the results, whether they're there or not, you know, we're going to stick with you. So don't think that you're going to lose your ride if you don't run good tonight.
Right.
That it's a comforting feeling. I feel like Jeff and Coco are the same. So, and Wayne's stuck. He's like my second father. Everybody always says it's daddy's money, and Wayne's done so much for me that, you know, I wouldn't be in any ride without what he did for me. So, just like I said, I'm a lucky guy that I get to keep those cars, and I tried to get Jeff to come down here.
He's busy, man.
He's down here.
Is he?
He's down here helping out.
He just said to hell with you?
It's tough because, you know, he's got the trade shows and stuff. He had to go to Philadelphia last week, and we got to go to Georgetown in, you know, 2 weeks after we get back from Volusia. So he's got to get stuff ready for that. And coming down here it's a pretty big expense when you got to give a driver a percentage and then pay for everything else. So I understand why he didn't. Now I'm stuck down here with the little motor that could, hoping that the track gets slippery for tomorrow.
I think by the end of the week you'll be all right.
I hope so. I probably shot myself in the face not coming to practice last night, but we drove through the night and left at 6 o'clock on Monday after Ray was off
6 o'clock in the evening. Not in the morning.
No, in the evening, and got here at noon yesterday. So didn't stop overnight. I drank about 7 Red Bulls, and then I got here, and I'm like, I'm not going to make any decisions that are going to make our race car better for tomorrow night. So we didn't go to practice. It probably hurt us tonight, but we're just going to have to work hard tomorrow to get better.
Your car owners, how many of them, are they all going to watch this?
hope so.
Okay. I'm putting it out there to your car owners because me and Connor Wade, I texted you about this. We had a conversation. Jeff, Buzz, all of you guys, put some dollars together. I can get you the connections.
Don't do it.
We got to get this dude to the Chili Bowl.
I'd like to go to the Chili Bowl.
You're not a big guy. Like, you could fit in the cars. There's no weight limit, right? So you want to be smaller. I think you'll be freaking good out there, man.
I hope. Like, I'm glad you're saying it.
I'm
but
telling you.
I think like racing. This is what I do for a living. I worked growing up. My dad raised me to work. Got a job at McDonald's when I was 14.
By the way, Matt was nodding his head. Yes, absolutely.
No, I've worked jobs and worked pretty hard, and now I'm at a level where I can race for a living. And spending money to rent rides in racing is a bad way that racing's going. I don't think that's the way that racing should be. I don't think it's the way NASCAR should be. I feel like you should get rides based on talent. And there's people that race midgets every week that have a lot more talent than I do. So I'm not going to pay for a ride to go to the Chili Bowl, nor do I think we could compete with guys that race 30, 40, 50 times in a midget.
I disagree with your that's how you want to stand on it, that's fine. But I absolutely disagree that you couldn't go down there and compete.
It would be
Disagree. Cool. Billy Van Inwagen was in the C-Main this year.
He did good, but he goes down year after year. So
but
he's done it.
But that's the only time he runs the midget.
Yeah. No, he's done
Timmy
good.
Buckwalter runs the midget once a year.
Larry did good down there when he went. The Northeast guys, Timmy won, obviously. I think the times have changed, though. When Timmy won...
He's bullshitting me.
Yeah.
He's completely bullshitting me.
No, it'd be cool.
You could do it.
It'd be cool to do.
Do you want to race anything else? I mean, we've seen Shepard do late models. Stu does, obviously, the truck, but like sprint cars. I mean... I raced a sprint car for Glenn Stiers during COVID a couple times. Mm-hmm.
Not really at any racetracks that you could use power or feel the wing or anything like that. So it was fun. It was awesome. But modified racing, it's tough because people judge on Facebook that you're not versatile, and there's versatile drivers, and they do a list on Flow, and it's cool and all, but to do something that doesn't make you money is not what you do when you're racing for a living.
Right.
If you're going to race 100 times in a modified and you're going to make money doing that, you can't go race a sprint car 20 times and expect somebody to pay you a percentage when you're not proven to win sprint car races. Makes it tough, but I would love to. I'm open to any opportunity. If somebody wants to put me in a sprint car to race anywhere, I'll do it.
We got a big audience right now. But, elevator pitch, right?
No, I mean that's the only reason why I don't do it, because it's in my mind racing is financial for me, and I don't have enough. Me and my wife bought our first house during COVID. We were going to Port Royal actually to race.
Well, see, I didn't put your money up. I put Jeff's and Buzz's up for you to go to the Chili Bowl, man.
I couldn't even convince Jeff to come to Florida. What are the chances we're going to go to Chili Bowl?
I'll talk to Jeff. You talk to Buzz. I'll talk to Jeff. Come on, Jeff would love big Barron's right outside the car at the Chili Bowl, man.
I think you got a better chance of talking to Buzz than you do Jeff. But no, it would be cool. Really, it would. And I heard they drink a lot of beer at the Chili Bowl. So I might win that race.
When we close it, Matt can tell you about Tulsa After Dark. No, I don't think anybody would have more fun than you. Well, I'm out of beer. Are you out of beer?
I'm empty.
All right.
I think I have 1 ounce left, so you won.
All right.
Technically.
Good for me. Matt Williamson.
Done.
Here, yeah.
Cheers. Can't cheers empty beer, but
I don't know when this is going to air, but I'll see you at the Chili Bowl next year.
Sounds
Jeff,
good.
Buzz, it's on you.